The battle had been going on for 6 hours when everything changed. The USS Retribution had destroyed over 200 alien ships, but Jake Morrison could see that his ship was badly damaged. Sparks flew from broken control panels. The lights flickered on and off. The quantum fusion core was running dangerously hot. "Shields down to 30%, Lisa Park reported from her engineering station. Her voice was tired, but determined. "Hull damage on decks 7 through 12. We're losing atmosphere in 3 sections." Jake looked around his bridge. His crew had been fighting without rest for hours. Amy Carter's uniform was dirty with sweat and smoke. Ben Rodriguez was working hard to keep the ship's systems running, but none of them were giving up. On his main screen, Jake could see what was left of the Zephyrian fleet. Many alien ships were damaged or destroyed. Others were trying to retreat to the edge of the solar system. The perfect formation they had started with was completely broken. "Grace, give me a status report on the enemy fleet," Jake ordered. 143 Zephyrian vessels remain operational," the ship's artificial intelligence replied. 72% of their fleet has been destroyed or severely damaged. Their command structure appears to be failing. Suddenly, Amy looked up from her station with excitement. "Commander, I'm getting a transmission from the alien fleet. They're trying to communicate with us." Jake felt surprised. During the original war 50 years ago, the Zephyrians had never tried to talk during battles. They had only fought until one side was completely destroyed. "Put it on the main screen," Jake ordered. The screen changed to show an alien face. Zephyrians looked almost like humans, but their skin was pale blue, and their eyes were larger. This one wore what looked like a military uniform. Behind him, Jake could see smoke and sparks on what was obviously a damaged ship. "Human vessel," the alien said in English. His voice was deep and careful. "I am Admiral Zeth of the Zephyrian Imperial Fleet. We request an immediate ceasefire." Jake exchanged glances with his crew. No one had expected this. "This is Commander Morrison of the USS Retribution. Why should we agree to a ceasefire?" Admiral Zeth looked tired and defeated. "Your vessel has proven that humanity possesses technology we cannot defeat. We came here expecting to face the same ships you had 50 years ago. We were not prepared for this level of advancement." Amy whispered to Jake. "Sir, should we accept?" Jake thought about it. His ship was damaged and his crew was exhausted, but they had proven their point. The alien invasion had been stopped. "Admiral Zeth, what are your terms?" Jake asked. "We propose a complete withdrawal of all Zephyrian forces from human space," the alien admiral said. "In exchange, we request safe passage back to our territory. We also wish to discuss a permanent peace treaty." Jake felt relief flooding through his body. They had won. Not just the battle, but the war itself. "Ceasefire accepted," Jake said. "Withdraw your forces and we will not pursue. But any ship that attacks human colonies or vessels will be destroyed." "Understood," Admiral Zeth replied. "Commander Morrison, your ship has changed everything. We will remember this day." The transmission ended. On the main screen, Jake watched as the remaining Zephyrian ships began moving away from Earth. The EAUZ invasion was over. Dr. Ben Rodriguez looked up from his computer with a big smile. "Commander, we're receiving a transmission from Earth Command. Admiral Clark wants to speak with you." A few minutes later, Admiral Patricia Clark's face appeared on the screen. Behind her, Jake could see celebration on the bridge of her flagship. People were cheering and hugging each other. "Commander Morrison, you did it," Admiral Clark said, her voice full of emotion. "You saved Earth. You saved humanity." Jake felt proud, but also humble. "We had help, Admiral. Admiral Sullivan built this ship 50 years ago because she knew this day would come. This victory belongs to her and her team." "Speaking of Admiral Sullivan," Admiral Clark said, "Earth Command wants to know if the Retribution's technology can be studied and copied. Can we build more ships like this one?" Jake looked around at his amazing ship. "The ship's database has complete construction plans and technical specifications. Grace has been maintaining all the original design files. We can definitely build more ships like this. Amy looked excited. Sir, we could build an entire fleet of ships with this technology. Humanity would be the strongest military force in the galaxy. That's exactly what Earth Command is thinking, Admiral Clark said. We're recommending a new class of vessels based on the Retribution's design. We want to call them Sullivan-class dreadnoughts, in honor of Admiral Sullivan. Jake nodded. That's perfect, Admiral. Admiral Sullivan deserves to be remembered forever. Over the next few days, as the USS Retribution traveled back to Earth for repairs, Jake had time to think about what had happened. They had found a ship that was hidden for 50 years. They had learned to use technology that was far beyond anything humans had before. And they had defeated an alien invasion that should have been impossible to stop. But the most important thing was what Admiral Sullivan had taught them. She had shown them that humans should never give up, never surrender, and always be ready for whatever threats might come. Grace, the ship's artificial intelligence, spoke to Jake as he stood on the bridge looking at Earth growing larger on the screen. "Commander, I have something to show you," Grace said. "Admiral Sullivan left a final message that was only supposed to play after a successful battle." The hologram of Admiral Sullivan appeared again, but this time she was smiling. "If you are seeing this message, then the Retribution has fulfilled its purpose. You have proven that humanity can overcome any threat." The Admiral paused and looked directly at Jake. "The ship I built was never just about weapons or shields or engines. It was about showing the galaxy that humans will never be defeated. We build not just for the wars we fight today, but for the ones our children might face tomorrow. The Retribution is our gift to the future," Admiral Sullivan continued. "It is proof that humanity will never surrender, never give up, and never stop reaching for the stars. Take care of her, and she will take care of you." The hologram faded away, leaving Jake alone with his thoughts. A few weeks later, Jake stood in a ceremony on Earth where he and his crew received medals for their bravery. But the real celebration was happening in shipyards around the solar system, where construction had begun on the first Sullivan-class dreadnoughts. The hidden warship had returned when humanity needed it most. Admiral Sullivan's vision had saved not just Earth, but had given humanity the tools to protect themselves for generations to come. As Jake looked up at the stars that night, he knew that humans would never again face extinction unprepared. The galaxy was a dangerous place, but humanity was ready for whatever came next. The USS Retribution had shown the way forward. Now it was up to the next generation to follow that path to the stars. The Zephyrian fleet appeared from hyperspace like a nightmare come to life. Hundreds of alien ships suddenly filled the space around Earth. Each ship was long and thin, made of a strange crystal material that seemed to glow with its own light. The ships were arranged in perfect rows, like soldiers getting ready for battle. Admiral Patricia Clark stood on the bridge of her flagship, the USS Constitution. She watched through the big windows as the enemy fleet took positions around Earth. Her own fleet of 60 human ships looked tiny compared to the massive alien armada. "All ships, take defensive positions around Earth," Admiral Clark ordered, into her radio. "Protect the planet at all costs." The human ships moved into formation around their home world. They were good ships with brave crews, but everyone knew they were badly outnumbered. For every human ship, there were more than 8 alien ships. Captain Steve Bennett looked at his scanner and shook his head. 512 enemy ships confirmed, Admiral. They're arranging themselves in attack formation." Admiral Clark felt the weight of command on her shoulders. Billions of people lived on Earth, and it was her job to protect them. But with so few ships against so many enemies, she didn't know how they could win. Then something appeared on her scanner that made her heart jump with hope. "Admiral, we have a new ship dropping out of hyperspace," Bennett reported. "It's the USS Retribution." On the main screen, Admiral Clark saw the most amazing warship she had ever seen. The Retribution was huge, easily twice the size of any ship in the human fleet. Its hull was dark black, so dark it seemed to absorb light itself. The ship looked like it was built for one purpose: destroying enemies. "This is Commander Morrison aboard the USS Retribution to all human vessels," came the radio transmission. "We're moving to intercept the enemy fleet. All ships, maintain defensive positions around Earth." Admiral Clark grabbed her radio. "Commander, you're facing more than 500 ships. Fall back to our defensive line." "Negative, Admiral," Jake's voice came back, calm and determined. "The Retribution was built for exactly this situation. Trust Admiral Sullivan's vision." All E. Across the human fleet, sailors and officers watched in amazement as the USS Retribution began moving toward the alien armada. The ship accelerated faster than any human vessel should be able to move. Its quantum fusion core was pushing it to speeds that would tear apart a normal ship. Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Retribution, watching the alien fleet grow larger on his screen. Amy Carter was at the weapons control station, her hands moving over controls that used technology 50 years ahead of anything else humans had. "All weapon systems are online," Amy reported. "Grace has loaded targeting solutions for the entire enemy fleet." "Shields at maximum power," Lisa Park called out from the engineering station. "The quantum fusion core is running at optimal levels." "Grace," the ship's artificial intelligence spoke in her calm voice. "Commander, the Zephyrian fleet is opening fire. Impact in 30 seconds. The first alien weapons hit the Retribution like bolts of lightning. Plasma cannons that could destroy normal ships fired again and again at the lone human vessel. The space around the Retribution lit up with deadly energy beams, but the ship's shields held. The advanced shield technology that Admiral Sullivan had developed absorbed impacts that would have turned any other human ship into space dust. "Shields holding at 98%, Lisa reported, amazement in her voice. "Those hits barely touched us." Jake felt a surge of confidence. "Amy, return fire. Show them what human engineering can do." The USS Retribution fired its main weapons for the first time in 50 years. Quantum beam cannons that used both human and alien technology sent streams of pure energy toward the enemy fleet. The beams punched through Zephyrian shields like they were made of paper. The first alien ship exploded in a ball of fire, then the second, then the third. "Direct hits on 3 enemy vessels," Amy reported with excitement. "Their shields can't stop our quantum beams." But the Zephyrian fleet was not going to give up easily. More ships moved forward, firing their plasma, cannons, and energy torpedoes at the Retribution. The alien commanders had realized they were facing something they had never seen before. "Grace, activate secondary weapons," Jake ordered. "Secondary plasma batteries coming online," Grace replied. "These weapons have been improved using captured Zephyrian technology. The Retribution's secondary weapons opened fire. Plasma cannons that had been reverse-engineered from alien technology and then improved by human scientists sent waves of energy into the enemy fleet. Each shot was more powerful than the main guns on most human ships. More alien ships exploded. The perfect formation of the Zephyrian fleet began to break apart as ships tried to avoid the deadly fire from the lone human warship. "Commander, we're taking heavy fire from multiple directions," Lisa reported. "But the shields are still holding strong." Jake could see on his screen that dozens of alien ships were firing at them now. The space around the Retribution was filled with energy beams and explosions, but Admiral Sullivan's shield design was working perfectly. "Amy, let's try something new," Jake said. "Grace, activate the gravitational disruptors." "Gravitational disruptors charging," Grace announced. "This weapon system is experimental. It has never been used in actual combat." Amy looked at Jake with excitement and fear. "Sir, according to the ship's files, gravitational disruptors can tear enemy ships apart at the atomic level. Fire when..." "Ready," Jake ordered. The gravitational disruptors fired. They didn't look like normal weapons. Instead of energy beams, they created invisible waves that moved through space toward the alien ships. When the waves hit their targets, something incredible happened. The alien ships began to shake and vibrate. Their crystal hulls started to crack. Then, one by one, they began to break apart. The gravitational waves were literally tearing the enemy vessels into pieces. 15 enemy ships destroyed by gravitational disruptors, Amy reported in amazement. They couldn't defend against that at all. Back on Earth's orbital stations, millions of people watched the battle on their screens. They saw one human ship fighting against hundreds of alien vessels. They saw explosions lighting up space as enemy ships were destroyed. They saw hope. Admiral Clark watched from her flagship as the USS Retribution continued its impossible fight. "How many enemy ships have been destroyed?" she asked Captain Bennett. 57 confirmed kills, Bennett replied. But Commander Morrison is still outnumbered more than 8-1. The battle continued for hours. The USS Retribution moved through the alien fleet like a shark among fish. Its quantum weapons destroyed ships that got too close. Its plasma batteries kept multiple enemies at bay. Its gravitational disruptors tore apart groups of ships that tried to surround it. But the ship was taking damage. Even Admiral Sullivan's amazing shields couldn't stop everything. Hull plating was cracked. Some weapon systems were offline. The quantum fusion core was running hot from hours of continuous battle. "Shields down to 60%. Lisa reported. "We can't keep this up forever." Jake looked at his crew. They had been fighting for 6 hours without a break. They were tired, but they were not giving up. This was what Admiral Sullivan had built the ship for. This was humanity's last stand. "Grace, how many enemy ships are left?" Jake asked. 238 Zephyrian vessels remain operational, Grace replied. "However, their formation is broken and many ships are retreating." Jake smiled. They were winning. 3 days had passed since Jake Morrison and his team found the USS Retribution. They were still learning about the amazing ship when something terrible happened. Far away from where they were, in a part of space called the Vega system, strange signals started appearing. Admiral Patricia Clark was in charge of all the ships that protected Earth. She stood in the war room on a big space station called Orbital Station Alpha. The war room was where all the important military decisions were made. It had huge screens that showed what was happening all over space. "Ma'am, we have a big problem," said Captain Steve Bennett. He was the person who collected information about enemies and threats. His face was pale and worried. "We're seeing massive fleet movements in the Vega system." Admiral Clark walked over to look at the big screen. She had been protecting Earth for 15 years. She had fought in small battles against pirates and criminals, but nothing like what she was seeing now. "Show me," she said. Steve pressed some buttons and the screen changed. It showed hundreds of dots moving through space. Each dot was a ship, but these weren't human ships. The energy patterns were different, alien. "The energy signatures match Zephyrian technology," Steve said quietly. "But the scale is much bigger than anything they had during the original war. We're looking at a force that's 3 times larger than what they brought 50 years ago." Admiral Clark felt cold fear in her stomach. The Zephyrian Empire had attacked Earth 50 years ago. Humans had won that war, but just barely. Millions of people had died. The aliens had retreated to the far edges of space, and everyone hoped they would never come back. But now they were back, and they had more ships than ever before. "How many ships are we looking at?" Admiral Clark asked. Steve looked at his computer. "At least 500 ships, ma'am, maybe more. They're arranged in perfect battle formation. This isn't a small raid. This is a full invasion force." Another officer ran up to them with a data pad. "Admiral, we're getting reports from our listening posts all along the outer rim. The Zephyrian fleet is moving toward human space. They're not trying to hide." Admiral Clark turned to her staff. "How long until they reach our colonies?" At their current speed, 18 days to reach Kepler 442, 25 days to reach Earth, Steve said. His voice was shaking slightly. Admiral Clark knew she had to act fast. Earth had about 60 ships that could fight in space. The Zephyrians had 500. It was an impossible situation. "Send recall orders to all our ships immediately," she ordered. "Begin evacuation protocols for the outer colonies. Get as many people as possible to the inner systems." She paused, thinking about something important. "And get me Commander Morrison on a secure channel, right now." A few minutes later, Jake Morrison's face appeared on the communication screen. Behind him, Admiral Clark could see the bridge of the USS Retribution. The ship looked incredible, with screens and controls that were far more advanced than anything in the human fleet. "Commander Morrison, what's the status of that vessel you found?" Admiral Clark asked. Jake's voice was calm, but she could hear the tension underneath. "Admiral, the Retribution is beyond anything in our current fleet. Its weapon systems use both human and Zephyrian technology mixed together. The quantum fusion core is putting out power levels that should be impossible." He paused and looked around his new bridge. According to the ship's artificial intelligence, it was designed specifically to fight the Zephyrian Empire. Admiral Sullivan built it to be the ultimate weapon against them. "How long until you can bring it to full combat readiness?" "The ship has been maintaining itself for 50 years, Jake said. "We could be ready for battle within 72 hours. But Admiral, there's something else you need to know about this ship." Admiral Clark leaned forward. "Tell me." "The Retribution isn't just a warship. It's something called a Dreadnought-class vessel. It's designed to operate alone for months or even years. It has machines that can build new weapons and repair damage. It has shield technology that's far beyond our current ships. And its weapons make our entire fleet look like toys." On the screen behind Jake, Admiral Clark could see crew members working at control stations. They were learning how to use technology that was 50 years ahead of anything else humans had. "Commander, I need you to understand something," Admiral Clark said. "The Zephyrians are coming back. We have 500 enemy ships heading toward Earth. Our entire fleet is only 60 ships." Jake's face became serious. "How long do we have?" 25 days until they reach Earth. 18 days until they reach the outer colonies." Jake turned to talk to someone off-screen, then looked back at Admiral Clark. "Admiral, the ship's AI says the Retribution was built to fight exactly this kind of battle. It was designed to face a large enemy fleet alone if necessary." "One ship against 500? Admiral Clark asked. "That's impossible." "Maybe not," Jake said. "Grace, the ship's AI has been showing us what this ship can do. Its main weapons can punch through Zephyrian shields like they're made of paper. It has secondary weapons that we've never seen before, and it has something called gravitational disruptors that can tear enemy ships apart." Admiral Clark felt a small spark of hope. "Can you really fight that many ships?" "I don't know," Jake said honestly. "But this ship was built by Admiral Sullivan to be humanity's last hope. She knew that someday we might face a threat we couldn't handle with normal ships. The Retribution is her answer to that threat." Behind Admiral Clark, Captain Bennett was getting more reports. "Ma'am, the Zephyrian fleet just increased speed. They'll reach the outer colonies in 15 days now." Admiral Clark made a decision. "Commander Morrison, take the Retribution and do whatever you can to slow down that fleet. Give our colonies time to evacuate. Give us time to prepare Earth's defenses." "Understood, Admiral. We'll do our best." "Commander, one more thing. If that ship is as powerful as you say, why did Admiral Sullivan hide it? Why didn't she use it in the original war?" Jake was quiet for a moment. According to Grace, the war ended before the ship was ready. Admiral Sullivan chose to hide it instead of destroying it like Earth Command ordered. She knew that the Zephyrians would come back someday, stronger than before. And she was right, Admiral Clark said quietly. After the communication ended, Admiral Clark stood looking at the big screen that showed the approaching Zephyrian fleet. 50 years ago, humanity had barely survived their first attack. Now they were coming back with 3 times as many ships. But this time, humanity had something they didn't have before. They had the USS Retribution, a ship built specifically to fight the Zephyrian Empire. A ship that combined the best of human and alien technology. Admiral Clark just hoped it would be enough. Captain Bennett, prepare all remaining ships for defensive positions around Earth, and send a message to all. Colonies, begin immediate evacuation. The war has started again. Jake Morrison checked his spacesuit one more time. The air inside the hidden ship might be bad, so he and his team had to wear the special suits that gave them clean air to breathe. Amy Carter, Ben Rodriguez, and Lisa Park were all ready too. Their suits were working perfectly. Remember, we stay together, Jake said into his suit's radio. If anyone sees something strange, tell the rest of us right away. The USS Horizon connected to the mysterious ship with a special tube that let them walk from one ship to the other. When Jake stepped through the door into the hidden ship, he felt like he was entering a different world. The first thing he noticed was that he could walk normally. The ship had artificial gravity, just like the USS Horizon. But that was impossible. Ships needed power to make artificial gravity work, and this ship had been hidden for 50 years. The gravity is working, Lisa said, sounding surprised. That means the ship still has a lot of power. Our ships can't keep artificial gravity running for 50 years without new fuel. Amy checked her small computer that measured the air around them. The air is safe to breathe, she said. It's a little old and stale, but it won't hurt us. Jake looked around the corridor they were standing in. It was much bigger than the corridors on his ship. The walls were made of thick metal that looked very strong. Everything about this ship was built bigger and stronger than normal ships. This ship was made for war, Jake said. Look at how thick these walls are. They could probably stop weapons that would destroy our ship. Ben was looking at the walls with his special light. Commander, these metals aren't in our current ships. This is some kind of advanced alloy I've never seen before. They walked down the corridor together. Emergency lights turned on as they moved, like the ship knew they were there. The lights were bright and clean, not old and broken like they should be after 50 years. How is the ship doing this? Amy asked. How does it know we're here? Advanced sensors, Lisa said. This ship has technology we don't understand yet. They came to a big door that had strange symbols on it. The symbols weren't in English or any other human language Jake knew, but as they got closer, the symbols changed. They turned into English words that said, Command Center. Did you see that? Ben asked, excited. The ship changed the language. For us, it recognized that we're human and switched to English. That's impossible, Amy said. Our ships can't do that. Jake pushed the button to open the door. The door slid open smoothly and quietly. Inside was the biggest command center Jake had ever seen. It was 3 times larger than the bridge on the USS Horizon. There were screens and control panels everywhere. But the most amazing thing happened when they walked into the room. A person appeared in front of them, made of light and air. It was a woman in an old military uniform. She looked real, but Jake could see through her. If you are seeing this message, then humanity has survived the Centauri Wars, the light woman said. Her voice was clear and strong. I am Admiral Grace Sullivan, commanding officer of the USS Retribution. Jake's mouth fell open inside his helmet. Every person in the space fleet knew about Admiral Sullivan. She was a hero from the war with the Zephyrians. She had won many battles against the aliens, but she had disappeared during the last big battle 50 years ago. No one knew what happened to her. Admiral Sullivan, Amy whispered. She's a legend. The light woman continued talking. This vessel represents our final insurance policy against extinction. If you are here, it means Earth needs this ship. Ben was writing notes as fast as he could. This is incredible. We're talking to a message from one of the greatest heroes in human history." Admiral Sullivan's image looked directly at Jake, as if she could see him. The Retribution was designed using reverse-engineered Zephyrian technology combined with human innovation. We took the aliens' technology and made it better. Jake felt his heart beating faster. If this ship had alien technology that was improved by humans, it could be the most powerful ship ever built. "We built it in secret," Admiral Sullivan continued. "The ship is powered by a quantum fusion core that makes our current reactors look like small fires. It can create energy that our normal ships can't even imagine." Lisa was looking at her scanner with wide eyes. "Commander, I'm reading power levels that shouldn't be possible. This ship's reactor is putting out more energy than our entire fleet combined." "But the war ended before we could deploy it," Admiral Sullivan said. "Earth Command ordered all experimental weapons destroyed. They said the war was over and we didn't need superweapons anymore." The Admiral's face became serious. "I chose to disobey those orders. I knew that humanity would face threats again. When that day comes, the Retribution will be ready." Amy looked around the command center. "Sir, if this ship is as powerful as she says, it could change everything. We could defend Earth against any enemy." Admiral Sullivan's image started to fade a little. "The ship's artificial intelligence will teach you how to operate the Retribution. It has been waiting for the right crew to find it. The AI has been maintaining the ship all these years, keeping it ready for battle." Suddenly, a new voice spoke. It didn't come from the Admiral's image. It came from the ship itself. "Welcome aboard the USS Retribution. I am the ship's artificial intelligence. You may call me Grace, after my creator." Ben nearly dropped his computer. "The ship is talking to us." "I have been waiting for 53 years, 4 months, and 16 days for new crew members to arrive," Grace said. "I have kept all systems operational and ready for immediate deployment." Jake found his, "Grace, what can this ship do?" "The Retribution is a Dreadnought-class warship designed to operate independently for extended periods," Grace replied. "I have manufacturing capabilities to build new weapons and repair damage. My shield technology can absorb weapon impacts. That would destroy 10 normal ships. My weapon systems include quantum beam cannons, plasma batteries, and gravitational disruptors." Lisa was staring at her scanner. "Gravitational disruptors? That's theoretical technology. We don't even know how to build those." "Admiral Sullivan and her team solved many theoretical problems," Grace said. "They combined Zephyrian technology with human creativity to create weapons and systems that neither species could build alone." Admiral Sullivan's image became clear again. "The war may be over, but threats will come again. The Zephyrians were not the only hostile species in the galaxy. Earth must be ready." Jake looked around at his team. They were all staring at him, waiting for his decision. This ship could be the most important discovery in human history, but it was also very dangerous. Weapons this powerful could destroy planets. "Grace, how long would it take to make this ship ready for battle?" Jake asked. "All systems are currently operational," Grace replied. "I require 72 hours to complete full diagnostics and update crew training programs. The Retribution can be combat-ready in 3 days." Admiral Sullivan's image smiled. "Choose your crew carefully, Commander. The Retribution is not just a ship. It's humanity's promise to never give up, never surrender, and never stop fighting for freedom." The Admiral's image faded away, leaving Jake and his team alone with the ship's artificial intelligence in the most powerful warship ever built. Commander Jake Morrison stood by the big window of his ship, the USS Horizon. He watched the stars and looked at the screens that showed what was around them in space. For 3 weeks, he and his team had been doing normal work in a part of space called Kepler 442. They were looking for new planets and checking on old ones. It was supposed to be easy work, but today was different. Today, something strange was happening. "Sir, I'm seeing something weird on my screen," said Lieutenant Amy Carter. She was the person who watched all the machines that looked into space. Her fingers moved fast over the buttons and screens. "There's a lot of energy coming from those big rocks over there. It's not normal." Jake walked over to look at her screen. He had been flying ships in space for 20 years. He had seen many strange things, but he always trusted what his gut told him. Right now, his gut was telling him that something was very wrong. Amy pointed at her screen. "Look at these numbers, sir. The energy is too strong to come from rocks. Rocks don't make this kind of power." Dr. Ben Rodriguez ran onto the bridge. He was carrying several small computers in his hands. Ben was the smart guy who studied old things that people found in space. He looked excited and scared at the same time. "Commander, you have to see this right now," Ben said, breathing hard. "The energy patterns we're finding match something from the old Earth Defense Project files." Jake felt his heart skip a beat. The Earth Defense Project was from the old war, with aliens called the Zephyrians. It happened 50 years ago. The Earth Defense Project was top secret. Most people didn't even know it existed. The government had tried to make superweapons to fight the aliens, but they said all those projects failed. "Are you sure about this?" Jake asked Ben. "I'm very sure," Ben said. He showed Jake his small computer. "Look at these wave patterns. They're exactly the same as the ones in the old secret files. Someone built something out there using the same technology." Jake looked around his bridge. His team was all watching him, waiting for orders. These were good people who trusted him to keep them safe. But if Ben was right, they might have found something that could change everything. "Amy, point the ship toward where that energy is coming from," Jake said. "And send a message to Earth Command right away. Tell them we might have found something. From the old war?" "Yes, sir," Amy said. Her fingers started moving over the controls again. Jake walked back to the big window. He could see the asteroid field in the distance. Asteroids were big chunks of rock that floated in space. This asteroid field had hundreds of them, some as big as small moons. They looked normal from far away, but Jake knew that looks could fool you. "Sir, I'm getting more readings," Amy said. "Whatever is out there, it's big, really big." The USS Horizon started moving toward the asteroid field. As they got closer, Jake could see that some of the asteroids looked different. They were too smooth, too perfect. Real asteroids were usually bumpy and had craters from being hit by other rocks. "Ben, what else do you know about the Earth Defense Project?" Jake asked. Ben looked at his computer again. "Not much, sir. Most of the files are still secret, but I know they were trying to build ships that could fight the Zephyrians. The aliens had better technology than us. Our normal weapons couldn't hurt their ships very much." "So Earth tried to build better weapons?" "Yes, sir. They tried to use alien technology that they captured during battles. They wanted to mix it with human technology to make something new." Jake nodded. During the war with the Zephyrians, humans had been losing badly. The aliens had faster ships, stronger weapons, and better shields. Earth had won in the end, but just barely. Many people had died. "Sir, we're getting close to the source of the energy," Amy said. "You need to see this." Jake looked at Amy's screen and couldn't believe what he saw. Hidden inside one of the biggest asteroids was a ship, but it wasn't like any ship he had ever seen. It was huge. Maybe 3 times bigger than the USS Horizon. The asteroid had been cut open and the ship was hidden inside it. "How is that possible?" Jake asked. "How did we never see it before?" "The outside of the asteroid looks real," Amy said. "But look at these readings. The ship is covered with some kind of special material that makes it invisible to our sensors. We can only see it now because we're so close." Ben was looking at his computer with wide eyes. "Commander, this changes everything. If this ship is from the Earth Defense Project, it might have technology we've never seen before." Jake made a decision. "Amy, take us closer. I want to dock with that ship." "Sir, is that safe?" Amy asked. "We don't know if anyone is on that ship. We don't know if it's dangerous. We have to find out," Jake said. "If this ship has been hidden here for 50 years, there has to be a reason. Maybe it's important. Maybe it can help us." As the USS Horizon got closer to the hidden ship, Jake could see more details. The ship's hull was made of metal he didn't recognize. It was dark gray, almost black. There were no windows that he could see. The ship looked like it was built for fighting, not for exploring. "I'm detecting power signatures," Amy said. "The ship still has power after all these years. How is that possible?" "Maybe it has really good batteries," Ben said. "Or maybe it has a power source we don't know about." Jake felt excited and worried at the same time. If this ship really was from the old war, it might have secrets that could help Earth. But it might also have dangers that they didn't understand. "Amy, send another message to Earth Command," Jake said. "Tell them we're going to board the ship. Tell them to send help if they don't hear from us in 12 hours. "Yes, sir." Jake looked at his team. "Ben, Amy, and Lisa, you're coming with me. We're going to see what's inside that ship." Lisa Park was their chief engineer. She knew more about ship systems than anyone else on the crew. If the hidden ship had strange technology, Lisa would be the best person to understand it. "Are you sure about this, sir?" Lisa asked. "Old ships can be dangerous. Systems can fail. Air can be bad." "I'm sure," Jake said. "But we'll be careful. We'll wear our spacesuits and take all our safety equipment." As they prepared to board the mysterious ship, Jake couldn't stop thinking about what they might find. A ship hidden for 50 years, with technology from the secret Earth Defense Project. It could be the discovery of a lifetime. Or it could be the most dangerous thing they had ever done. But Jake knew they had to find out. Some secrets were too important to leave buried in the dark.